Well, good morning, folks. It is a bright and early Monday morning. I think I actually did work Friday, but before that I spent most of last week in New York City. My subway video got a lot of interest from people, so I went back and used the subway some more to try and learn more about the system, and it was an interesting experience. I probably took at least 5 point-to-point rides on the subway system. And so, obviously you've got beginner, you've got intermediate, and advanced, right? I was obviously beyond beginner the last time, and I'd say after this last trip, I'm somewhat close to intermediate, at least halfway to intermediate. Don't be intimidated, as long as you're, square on the safety concerns, which I gotta say, I pretty much put out of my mind. I felt like there's a core group of people, this is their way to go, and everybody knows there's nonsense, but the odds of the nonsense, I guess what scared me was not my first, but on the third trip, it was a morning trip to get uptown quite a ways from where I was, and I'm walking up the staircase, and they called an announcement: the so-and-so train has been delayed for striking a person, please be patient, or something. And it was said with such normalcy, it kind of disturbed me a little bit, as if, the system kills people on the regular, and it's just another thing, and almost as if we should know how long to expect that wait to be. I thought that was strange. I was on another train where it didn't quite take off when it was supposed to, and I kept watching NYPD people walk by my open door. I'm sitting kind of across from the door, and the police officers keep walking by, and I'm wondering what this is. And it was, all the uniforms looked a little different. And they weren't walking with urgency, that's for sure. And the conductor kept saying, he made about, 4 or 5 announcements saying, we're being delayed for inspection, please remain calm, or something. And, my mind went to some kind of maintenance or routine inspection of police by the trains. And then I realized I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's a thing. I think it was most likely some sort of emergent crime or something that, my goodness, the phlegm, that came about and caused the police to be involved. Quite a lot of them. So that was different. I handled my first train transfer, which was a stroke of luck. Again, always overthinking, always overanalyzing. A train transfer is when you go from one colorblind train to a different colorblind train. And sometimes, actually, you can change to the same colorblind train, but to a different letter, because that takes you to a different specific destination. And I needed to do that. Google Maps told me where to transfer at a larger station. But I could tell, based on, certain resources available to me, that the two trains were running together for a certain amount of time. And I thought, I'm going to do this one station early, because this station seems smaller and quieter. They wanted me to do it at like Penn Station or somewhere kind of busy. And I thought, this station looks like a better, easier way to do that. So I hop out, and whatever the letter was, it happened to be stopped right across the platform that I was on. So I got out and I got right onto the train I needed by literally walking across the same platform I would have embarked on, and I kept going in the same direction. That is, I think that's normal. I think that if you're seeing trains on the same piece of concrete, they're going the same direction. But if you want to go the other direction, that's when you've got to go, up or down a flight of stairs and find your platform. I struggled with my other train transfer. I needed to switch to something downtown. I followed the signs. The signs led me to the exit. The exit was wrong. I had to get back in. And I missed that little ramp or staircase. It's tricky. The transfers are tricky. And if you're trying to do this as a newcomer to the city or as someone who's never tried the system before, I would encourage you to build in a lot of extra time if you're transferring trains. At least 10 minutes, because you're probably going to miss a transfer. Assume you're going to miss a transfer. Assume there might be an inspection or something that stops you. Because that is a wrinkle that, again, is kind of one of those intermediate skills for using the system. In fact, in the beginning, I would opt for itineraries that took more walking, but only required me to use one line. And it was that fear, it was that certainty of just wanting to know that once I get on where I'm supposed to be, once I can tell I'm going the right direction from the next station, that I don't have to do anything else, and then I'm going to pretty much get where I'm going. That is letting the intimidation win, obviously. If the transfer can save you a noticeable amount of time, go ahead and do it. Give it your best shot, and try your best. I think it's worth it. It's not that hard. I felt a lot more comfortable in the environment, at least. Well, and here's the game changer. I brought my Metro card from last month. It actually hadn't even been a full month. No, it had been a month. The Metro card didn't work, but it had money on it to my knowledge. But I spent some time on the MTA website because someone told me you use your phone as a scanner or something. So I thought you had to get an app. So I start going through the subway apps. I download like 3 apps. None of them, I thought you had to connect a credit card to the app to make it work. You don't. I think what people are doing is using Apple Pay or something. But for me, I just took my corporate credit card and smacked it on the turnstile, and I was good to go. Now, you are taking a credit card out in public, which is risky, right, for theft, but so is a smartphone. I mean, any of that is. So I didn't see a benefit to using my phone. If your phone dies or something, what are you going to do? You might as well just use the payment method of choice. So that's what I did for this time around. It's just, if your card has a chip in it, then put it down. So again, it was $2.90 for a ride. If you're going to the airport, from the airport, I spent almost $80 for an Uber to the airport. It was a 30-minute car ride. That is a lot of money for a one-way car ride. It includes all these airport surcharges and black car fees and NYC fees. It was not affordable. And I'm thinking to myself, if I came here on my own dime, would I take the subway? And the answer there is, I don't know. Because one of my rules for this last trip was, if you're carrying a bag or a suitcase, don't take the subway. So I never went on with any kind of baggage. I saw at least one person doing it, but it isn't fun. I mean, people do it, they take their groceries, I've seen it done, but you're holding up lines, you're again creating a risk of an interaction that you don't necessarily want. You're either holding up somebody who's trying to walk or something or other. It's for me, that's a level I haven't been willing to cross yet. But for me, going to LaGuardia Airport, you can take a train and then you have to take what's called the Q70 bus, which is a free bus to the terminal. I've heard that bus gets stuck in traffic regularly, so leave yourself lots and lots of extra time. One of the things about my business trips, I don't have extra time ever, unless it's, goof off at nighttime or something. But when it comes to getting back to the airport, that's a very tight schedule in almost every instance. So that's not been an option for me, but I think about if I were to come on my own expense, I probably have at least one or more family members with me. Would I want to put them through that experience to save $60? I don't know. Probably not. Something about traveling with a family makes you stop caring about inconveniences a little bit. That's why Disney makes so much money, right? So, before I mention the police presence in subway stations last month, this month the police were a little occupied with something else called I believe it's the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. I stumbled on this tree by accident. Not by accident, yeah, it's kind of by accident. I was told I'm going to take a picture of the Christmas tree by the Lego store. And frankly, I never found the Lego store, but I think I found Radio City Music Hall and throngs of people who were there to go see the Rockettes and then see the tree lighting that was happening the day I was there. The actual very day. So I go find this tree. So I'm fighting these throngs of people. I've actually got a business call on my phone, and I'm not having a good time, honestly. So I keep looking for this Lego store, and there's so many people that my phone GPS and location service isn't working right. It doesn't understand where I am, but it still has a map so I can see kind of where I need to go. I never found the Lego store, but I found this tree. It was huge, and it was green, and it was unlit and undecorated. And I'm thinking to myself, what? And there's a stage nearby, and a youngish woman gets on the stage in winter clothes, and talks, and everybody's taking photos. And I'm later told that might have been Kelly Clarkson. I don't know. She had sunglasses, hat on. You couldn't tell who it was. Said something about come back at 2 o'clock or whatever it was. She was probably talking to the tour groups. I saw student groups together taking photos in front of the undecorated tree, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm in the wrong spot. Then I go and talk to a somewhat local guy from New Jersey at a conference. And he says, you want to steer clear of that place? So yeah, he goes, yeah, because there's a big lighting ceremony today. It's a big thing. People come in to see it. And there are 2 protests planned to interfere with. So before this conversation, I see this sort of lobby area outside of a building. There are streets that are completely blocked off. I should add. There are streets where you could walk through the street in the traffic lane. There's big areas blocked off by the police. Not sure why, but it's special event coordinating, right? Obviously, it's for this tree lighting, which I didn't really. I think I put together at the end there that it was going to be lit today. But you could walk down the street completely. Traffic had been cut. And in front of one of these buildings, I see about 30 or 40, maybe more, NYPD just hanging out. I mean, honestly, I thought they were coming in for like a precinct photograph or something. It shows you how my mind's in the gutter. Not in the gutter, but in the clouds or something. They're not there for a precinct photo in Midtown, okay? They're there because supposedly pro-Palestine group has declared an intent to disrupt the tree lighting ceremony with a protest. And the pro-Israel group has stated the same intention, and they want to clash, they want to rumble, they want to use the crowd gathering as a place for them to gather a crowd without knowingly violating any assembly laws, right? It's not unlawful to assemble at a place where it's been designated as a place to publicly assemble. And then, instead of ho, 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 they pull out their genocide signs and all this and start their nonsense. It's not nonsense, but it's not in the place where it's supposed to be, right? And I gotta tell you, there's no place I can think of right now that's more electric on this issue than probably New York City. We've got a heavy population of Orthodox Jews, perhaps Zionist Jews, and also a heavy population of people of Middle Eastern descent who may be sympathizers with the Arab cause and Palestinian diaspora, right? And I saw a lot of graffiti things attacking institutions for their views, attacking City University of New York for whatever reason, attacking. And sometimes you just see spray paint that said Free Gaza or something like that. So-and-so was complicit in genocide. I mean, it was a felt thing. And now the new thing is getting on to people for being quiet about it, being silent. I don't know the answer to that, other than it's a really complicated thing. I like John Oliver's piece on it. I thought that was a fair way to look at both sides, sort of looking into what the differences are between the mouthpieces of both sides and the actual people. Now, the actual people in both countries don't really match, but the leaders of factions are doing. And I don't know if that provides any helpful insight other than a greater understanding. Some of this is going into longer-term agendas, I suppose, rather than, using things as kind of like our Iraq War was our knee-jerk to 9/11 in a sense. They're using it for their own political motives as well, for longer-term posturing. But it's really hard to criticize that. He did the same thing and probably would do the same thing. I'm disgusted by the idea that the terror attack is somehow an okay extension of a greater freedom-fighting cause. It's not. It's just not to me. I can't overlook that. If you want me to overlook that, I'm just not going to be able to do that. I don't know why we're supposed to say that's okay. I can't say that's okay. And I'm not hearing a lot of explanations. Now, there is such a thing as a proportionate response. I would say we're all challenged in the proportionality of the response. It seems to be a little bit over proportional. So, anyways, that's awkward. That. Not that bad. A lot going on. It wasn't that bad to me. I got around. Everything was expensive. I paid $6. This conference I'm at, they have the break time. Usually they bring out like Cokes and water. They didn't bring out any water. They only brought out coffee and milk. Literally, coffee and milk. That's it. And I'm like, what? No. I need water. I walked 20 minutes. So to get to this conference, it's way uptown. I had to walk at least 10 to 15 minutes in the morning to get to. I walked about an hour to get there. It took me most of it. Walk 10-15 minutes to the station, get on it, go uptown. I think I had to transfer once. That was an easy transfer. Keep going uptown. And then walk another 5-10 minutes. And one thing to think about on these subways is stops, okay? So I had to go 11 stops on one line, as I recall. And it is very easy to zone out and forget where you're getting off. I had to really actively bring myself back into reality. You can't just zone out because you can miss your stop. And sometimes there's a visual as you're crossing through that tells you the name of the stop. It's like embedded in the tiles or something. Sometimes there's a visual in the car with a little light, in the train car with a light saying here's where we are. Sometimes there's none of those things. Sometimes there's an audio announcement saying what the stop was. Sometimes there's not. Or you can't hear it. There is an announcement, but you can't always hear it. Doesn't make sense. Sometimes there's a sign on the door side inside the station that you can see. Sometimes you can't see through the doors. Okay? So it kind of creates this affirmative obligation on the rider to pay attention to the number of stops, how many stops away you are from getting off, so you don't miss it. Now, I never missed a stop. And I was usually in such a, keen moment to get to where I was going that I didn't mind. Actually, I think I took 7 rides on the subway. Longer rides. We're talking longer than it would take to walk, so it was worth it, right? So my first ride, I took a car service to the west side from the garden. It was a long car ride, close to an hour. Then I took a train uptown to 54th Street. Took a train back downtown to make dinner. Took a train, I guess, further downtown probably to Village. I went back. I could walk back to my place. Then I took a train downtown to Greenwich Village. Took a train back up from Greenwich Village. So there's 4. Took a train to my conference in the morning. There's 5. Took a train that evening from back to Greenwich Village. That was a long ride. It felt long. state in the rental car. It might be a little tricky, but it sounds kind of fun. Goodness, this guy's going to be in trouble when it's over. A little early today. I'm going to translate into meaningful earliness, but I need to leave early today. So hopefully that evens out. Didn't even stay up to the Chiefs game last night. I'm so tired. Sleeping really hard, not drinking, haven't had a drink. I had 2 beers last night, first time in 4 days at least. I was in New York, I guess, the last time I had any real drinks. A little bit sick. My wife kept waking me up drinking the Chiefs game to tell me what I missed. Tell me I had fallen asleep and I couldn't believe her, and so I was just closing my eyes or something. No, I was snoring rather I'm sure of it. See a decrease in traffic between now and Christmas. Christmas is in about 3 weeks. Imagine we'll see a decrease until we see an increase. Never know. Okay, I'm hearing that sound. You hear that sound? An engine retarder, or it could be a broken tandem. I think it's something to do with the tandem tires. But then it stopped. Right, we don't want to be next to this truck if the tire comes off. That can get into your engine. Alright, yeah. This guy's running out of Jake brake. He should get a ticket right now. I wish that police officer in the speed trap would get in there. He just clocked me going by the 5 over. I don't think he cares. There's a lot of stalled vehicles. I get a lot of pressure to go around this truck in the right lane, but he's driving a little peculiarly. Oh, please don't get over. Hugging the line, he's got his brights on, some kind of bright halogen light. What a wild guy, I don't understand this person. A lot of driving habits that are strange. He's lit up like a gosh darn police investigation or something. These halogens, about 9 or 10 yellow lights along the top and bottom of the rig. Bumper lights. I've never seen anything quite like that. when either your brakes are out of maintenance or you just want to slow down without using your brakes. Just save brake costs, perhaps. Brake pad, not brake pads, but the system itself. A lot of places have banned them. I don't know why, but they really have fallen out of vogue. People are not using engine retarders anymore. So when I heard those sounds, I really wasn't quite sure what I was hearing. He was using his Jake brake to help maintain his buffer space, which is required for trigger is supposed to maintain a certain car length of seconds of space vehicle in front of them. He was using this to help beef up his space. Certainly not normal driving practice at all. Most people could simply let off the throttle rather than reducing exit when we left. Well, it's going to be a stretch, but I think we'll make it. And later, as we're almost out of gas, and I'm trying to make it to a certain exit, certain town, my daughter sees us drive past the gas station. She says, "Why do you stop?" And I said, "Well, Mom wants us to go to X, this town." And she goes, "Well, I meant this other town, which is way back there." I said, "Well, if we had done that, we'd have stopped an hour and a half ago." So obviously there'd been a disconnect, or I'd given a little too much credit to what she said. So here we are with the low mile number of, we were at the E. Usually it tells you how many more miles you can go, and then when it's below 30, you're at low mile. Okay, it won't give you a number of miles left. You're just at low. We had to get through another, 10 miles or so of interstate. My daughter's wigging out in the back seat. I thought it'd be fun for her. I showed her the mile ticker. I showed her the fuel gauge, and she could see them both from where she sat. And I think it caused her a lot of stress that I didn't anticipate. By the time we got down to 4 miles, 3 miles, I said, "Look, I can walk this. Get a tank of gas and come right back to us. If we run out, it won't be a huge deal." And she was very nervous. Then I showed her, filled the tank up. I showed her how much we actually had left in the tank, which was close to 2 gallons, right? 1 point something. I knew we had a 24-gallon tank, and we only held about 22 some change went into the tank, and it was full. So I said, "I'm telling you, this means we could have gone another, 20, 25, 30 miles before we actually needed gas. Even though it was on the E, even though it said very low, the light was on, the warning was on, it was all there, but the fuel space should speak for itself a little bit." And the silver lining was, once we got parked at the gas pump in this town that I only went to because of a misunderstanding with my wife, we looked across the parking lot, and next door, a couple doors down in this town, was a sit-down Pizza Hut buffet. And we both sort of looked at each other like, "Huh." We just happened to get here at lunchtime. We stopped at the exact right time, in the exact right town, where we could experience our first in many, many years Pizza Hut buffet. Many, many years. So we all piled into a booth and ordered the buffet, and had all the same things that we hadn't had since probably childhood. It was wild. Which I know I've talked about the Pizza Hut buffet on here before. It's sort of just a random memory. Well, it's not random now. They put out thick crust, and pasta, and cinnamon sticks, breadsticks, and just all sorts of your old classics. Salad bar, it was all there. And it was all cool. And it was all because decided to take an unnecessary risk of running out of gas in a rural place in Missouri. So, take risks, folks. There's your tip.